She had to stay alive for a foal.
Oh.
Little Bertie B. He was 8 months old. And he was dying. He was dying. Some of the trauma those horses have gone through. You know, these ones that have been abused, they've been beaten up, starved, they've had somebody that's loved them and now they don't, they've been rejected. I'm Sarah Arthur and I am the Chief Executive Officer at Horses and Ponies Protection Association, long phrase, HAPPA.
How much it's actually costing to make sure that these horses are safe?
Well, for the whole organisation, it's $22,000 a week to keep us going. That's how much it costs. Yeah. The absolute ultimate goal for us is to give that horse a second chance in its new home. So we will try our hardest to find it the best home.
So Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Welcome. Can you tell us a bit what you do at HAPPA and what HAPPA is as a charity?
I'm Sarah Arthur and I am the Chief Executive Officer at Horses and Ponies Protection Association, long phrase, HAPPA in short, to the Northerners, we're called HAPPA. And I am the person that runs the whole ship, I suppose. You could describe me as that. I haven't always done that. I started in 2004 as a stable hand, working with the horses on the yard, working with them, rescue, rehabilitation and rehoming, right at the core of what we do. And I suppose as soon as I started at HAPPA, I knew that it was absolutely the place for me. And that's why it gave me the drive to start to think about, could I become a manager? Could I start to work in operations? Could I become the big boss, I suppose, through hard work, mentoring and qualifications? I made it in the end. 7 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
7 years ago. That's a long.
And I think when people say that sometimes you fall into a job that you were meant to be in, I think HAPPA was the place that I really was meant to be. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really, really nice. So when you say, so you started as a stable hand working with HAPPA?
Yeah.
So you literally started, is that like the entry where everybody can go into? Or?
Yes.
And then you worked your way up there?
Worked my way up, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I can remember the interview when I went.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So nervous. I remember I was sweating. There was a lady next to me that kept pulling, the Velcro off the boots when I was talking. She kept pulling it as I was having my interview. And I started to think to myself, I'm really nervous, but you're really making this so much worse. I can remember, when I was young, showing up for that interview. But as soon as I walked on the yard, I just knew I needed to be there. And that was where I needed to be.
Why?
Why? Because I had a passion for horses since I was 3. I was one of those really, really annoying children, in the pram, that when they went past us and go, Gigi, Gigi, Gigi. And my mum and dad had absolutely no idea why I did it because it came from nobody, absolutely nobody.
Oh.
But just from 3, I was just obsessed. I wanted to be around them. I wanted to ride them. I wanted to own one. And my mum and dad didn't have a clue. So I was kind of like chucked at a riding stable when I was old enough.
Yeah.
You sort her out.
Yeah.
You let her ride the ponies. Whatever you want to do with her, that's fine.
Yeah.
My first pony, I don't even think it had a saddle on. I don't even think it had a saddle on.
Best way.
They'd loaned it off somebody. I don't even think they knew. But by God, that pony taught me how to ride. I have to say, it taught me. And I can't do that nowadays. 8 years old, I used to walk up the road with the saddles in my hand to the stables. It was quite a walk, like a mile, mile and a half. I was only young.
Yeah.
I used to go on my own, tack the pony up, in a fashion, get on. The amount of times I was on the deck to ride it around the field. But we did it in the end, me and Rupert. We were awesome in the end. Rupert? Yeah, Rupert, a little grey Welsh pony. He was my beginning, and he was such a cutie. Other people didn't think he was a cutie. Mum and Dad certainly didn't when they had to be called to hospital, when I had concussion. But yeah, we got there in the end.
Well, you seem to be all right now.
I'm all right. Some might say I'm not, but yeah, I'm okay now.
It always starts off from that. I think you're either you're in love with them, or it's Marmite.
Yeah,
isn't
you either do or you don't.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
No.
You're either all in,
or
you're all out. There's no in between, is there?
No.
There's no middle ground.
No. So when you started working at HAPPA, you said it was seven years ago.
No, it's 20 years
Oh,
ago.
20 years
20.
ago. Oh, sorry. Wow.
Started in 2004.
But you've been the CEO?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've been there for a long time, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. So did you do anything else before you started that stable hand at HAPPA?
How long have you got?
Oh, we've got as
Do you
long
want
as
to start at the beginning?
you could start wherever you fancy.
Right. Well, when I'd finished school,
Yeah.
my mum's got multiple sclerosis. So I had a riding instructor at the time. She's now on the board of trustees, which is really nice. We've come full circle.
Yeah.
And at the time when I was 16, my mum didn't want me to care for her. So she had this pact for my riding instructor. She had to force me to go to Gloucester to study equine studies at Hartpury College.
Right.
So right from word go, that was me. She didn't want me to stay in Burnley. She didn't want to look after her. Had to go and do my equine studies because she knew that was what I wanted to do. So I went to Hartpury College in Gloucester, did my equine studies, high national diploma. And then, of course, at that age, you decide that partying is quite interesting, Going out for a drink's quite interesting. So when I left college, I ran a pub in Gloucester called the North End Vaults.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I ran a pub for a year or so. I think because my whole life had been horses at college, I think I just needed that time out to go. So I did the pub, had enough of that, came back to Burnley, came full circle back to Burnley, moved back in with my mum and dad and decided, you know what, horses are missing from my life. You're either in or you're not. I need them back. It's not a choice. I have to have horses back in my life. So I looked for a job. I got a job on a stable yard at the time, just looking after the horses. And then I was there for about a year. And then they were moving, so I had to find another job. Sitting in my mum and dad's house, there wasn't much social media in that time.
Oh.
It was the newspaper on the table. You had to look through. You actually had to look through the newspaper to find an advert.
Yeah.
It wasn't. You couldn't go onto the website or dial in to find a job. You had to look at the newspaper.
Yeah.
And it was there. It was HAPPA, stable hand, and I thought, yeah, that's me. That's a bit of me.
Yeah.
So I went to my mum dropped me off. Didn't drive at the time. Mum dropped me off at the stable. I remember us hovering because at HAPPA there's like a lane that comes right down. If you've ever been, it's like it comes right down. I can remember we pulled into the verge on our way down the lane. I was so nervous.
Bet.
And because we were really early, because we had to be early birds, you had to get there on time. We sat there sweating. Mum's like, do you definitely want to do this? I said, yes, I do. I definitely want to go and have a job interview there. So she's like trying to calm me down. And then she put the approach down the lane. I always remember that. And parking up and then going in for the interview. And just the manager at the time, just everything that he was saying, how it was a different setting then. It was more of a sanctuary setting.
Yeah.
So they were rehabilitating them, keeping them for quite a long time. Making sure they were okay. The stories that he told, I thought, horses have helped me throughout my lifetime, and it's now time for me to give back.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the initial emotion was to start there.
Building resilience.
Yeah.
In the equestrian world, you're on your own. You're on your own, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's judgment. If you've got an issue, voicing an issue, you'll get about 3 different options from 3 different people you ask. Yeah. So it kind of built me as quite a independent person, a resilient person, and probably set me up for my career, I have to say.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I want to go and help horses as they've helped me?
Because I think you say about the being independent and that sort of, and I think there is that side of it on that spectrum. But then I'm sure you've probably even found like people now on the other side of the spectrum. You've got such a community now.
Yes.
About it, and it is and people say the same thing. It's like you on that side, people judge you and okay, talk behind your back a little bit, and then the other side, you've got the only one, the best for you and want to help you.
Exactly. Like the riding instructor, the riding instructor that helped me right at word go, my mentor.
Yeah.
I had a little thing at one point where I could get on a horse, but I just had this block about getting off a horse.
What isn't you were scared to jump off it?
I couldn't get off.
What is it? You were just addicted
Just
to it?
addicted to be on a horse. And it was the strangest thing. And she's called Trish, and she said, "Why is this?" I'm like, when you unpicked it, it's like, was it that I was feeling, that it was my safe place? Was it that, that was the safest place for me to be with my world at that time? And that was when I'd just come back from Gloucester. I just think they're awesome animals. I think they can read you. They can smell you. They can read you in 2 seconds flat. We have horses at HAPPA that have people that they like and they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call them our equine care officers. I call them our horse psychologists. They're not just equine care officers. They're horse psychologists. Some of the trauma those horses have gone through. These ones that have been abused. They've been beaten up. Starved. They've had somebody that's loved them and now they don't. They've been rejected. Those equine care officers, I can tell you, over the years since I've been there, they've been one that they've not been able to bring back into loving humans, because horses are just so trusting. In the end, they all start to trust again. But the equine care officers really get down deep. They know every single bit about these horses. They know what they like, what food they like, how they like to be led. Really? How they like to have the head collars put on, when they ride them, which tack item they like to have put on first. They know every single thing. And the trick is that when they go out to the homes on our loan scheme, it's finding the best match. It's almost like, like a dating service. We profile the person. It's got to be the person that matches the horse. It can't be the other way around. The person's got to match the horse. Yeah. It's so tricky.
I bet. Yeah. I bet it is. I bet, and especially when, we'll go into a lot of the cases that you've had as well. But just going back to when you first started at HAPPA compared to what it is now, what is the main differences that you see compared to when you first started compared to what it is now?
If I'm being honest, the horses have shown us the way.
Yeah. In what way?
In so many ways. So one horse that comes to mind, Bertie. One of the
great name.
Yeah, Bertie B. Don't know if you've been from Burnley, but it's definitely after Bertie B, the Burnley Football Club B. Bertie and Kiwi's case. That was one of probably the most impactful case we've ever probably had at HAPPA. And when we found Bertie and Kiwi, if you are a question, was a body score of 0.
What is that?
So when you body score a horse, is like 0 upwards. 0 being the absolute worst. 3 being probably okay.
Is in weight wise?
Weight wise, right. Yeah. So she was severely emaciated. We went to see her. It was actually in the Ribble Valley, quite close to where we were. Yeah. And the only reason why the vet said that she was standing was because her motherly instinct had kicked in. She had to stay alive for a fall. Oh. Little Bertie B. Bless him. He was 8 months old. And he was dying. He was dying.
Take time. There's no rush. Move on to something else if it's easier. No?
No, let me have a minute. Okay. The vets had no hope for him. He was led out flat. He wasn't responsive. And the vets gave us 2 choices. 1, we put him to sleep there. 2, we give him a chance. And the 4 of us all decided we're going to give him a chance. And we had to ring the fire brigade because he wasn't actually able to stand. So we had to lift him onto the trailer. But we had to call for another horse box because obviously Kiwi couldn't be in with him because it wasn't a good place for her to see. So we drove back extremely slowly, and we thought if he can get back to the farm with a bit of sedation, a bit of painkiller, and he's alive, we'll give him a chance. When we got back to the farm, put the ramp down, we were so pleased. He was still alive, bless him. And if you're an equestrian person, if a horse lies down for more than 24 hours, their organs just literally shut down because they can't survive lying on the side because they're so heavy. They have the locking system, they stand up to sleep because of that reason. So when we got him back, we had to get him up in a hoist to make him stand. Because if we didn't make him stand, then that was not giving him the best chance. We all pulled together. The vets came. He was given initial bute, some steroids, and they took bloods to see what was going on with him. They took a stool sample from him. And when the results came back, he had an absolutely mega worm burden. He had a little, when we looked at him, you thought he's quite plump, but actually what was the tummy was a full tummy of worms, full tummy. That was why he looked quite plump. And at 8 months old, that's a lot for a little foal to cope with. Yeah. He had wounds on his legs and the smell. Have you ever smelled like an abscess pus smell? It was, as soon as you walked up to him, you could smell him. And we thought something's not right here. So we searched because he had quite thick fur for a foal. And he had wounds all over his legs. What had actually happened, we found out in like the days after, he'd been attacked by a dog. So not only did he have a full worm burden, he also had sepsis. And he was just giving up. Now, me and Amanda very laugh about this, the head of Equine Operations, because she always says, you missed your Christmas party that year. She always giggles about it because it was around Christmas.
Right, okay.
But I didn't care.
No.
No, I didn't care that I missed my Christmas party.
No, last thing. Every
2 hours, we had to feed him. We had to give him steroids. The vets came out, bute, antibiotics. He had to have them injected because he couldn't eat initially. But then he really did start to fight. No. Yeah. That was amazing. Yeah. How that animal started. And he just, every 2 hours we fed him and he got stronger.
They're
stronger and stronger. The whole team pulled together.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. But this is it's clearly so important and such a beautiful story of how that one, it always sticks in your head, right? This Bertie B.
The moment his head was over that door, and he didn't need us to pick him up anymore, that was just it. Yeah, for the whole team.
Yeah, that was what you were aiming for. That's what you wanted for him to survive. Yeah, and he did. And he. Do you think? You said before about the horses they know. Do you think he saw that you guys were trying to help him and it gave him a bit of a push?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even Kiwi.
Yeah.
She felt comfortable enough to start to lie down.
Really?
She felt comfortable to actually leave us to it. And the way that she turned into a beautiful, thoroughbred, she became, she stayed with us for a very long time. She was a beautiful animal, such a kind, caring horse. But what Bertie, he recovered at 8 months old. He went on to become a riding horse. At the time, we didn't have a foster scheme. So there was nowhere for him to go. When he got healthy enough, we had nowhere to send him. So that's when we started to think about, are we doing the right things for these horses? Do we need to rethink on what we're doing? If other Berties come in, we don't have the right to keep him until he's 4 years old. At the stable, as a herd, he has the right to go and have a private home. So we started to rethink about, do we start the foster scheme, which is now with us? Our young horses that we have in, we've got 3 foals at the moment. When they're weaned, they'll get to go to foster homes. So they can have their special person until they're old enough to come back, to be backed and broken to ride.
Yeah.
But Bertie didn't have that at the time. So he stayed with us until he was 4. Then when he was 4, he got back to be ridden. We call it back, so we don't like to call breaking them in because it's not breaking them in. We back them.
Yep.
And Daisy's stable hand, and Jeanette, who's now our loan support officer, they were literally his people. They absolutely adored him. And they'll even get emotional when we talk about Bertie because he was just HAPPA. That was what HAPPA was about. And when he got to 4, he got back to, to be ridden. And then he went out to a new home on the loan scheme to Mary Hen, who still got him, and he's literally followed me through my career. And everything that we've done with the rehoming scheme, it's not us. The horses have shown us what to do with the loan schemes. Because Bertie went out to Mary Hen, but we also thought, you know what, we need to protect him for the rest of his lifetime. It's not about him just coming to us and then going to a home. It's to making sure that we safeguard him for the rest of his lifetime. So that's why we never relinquish ownership. They're always a HAPPA horse. And we have a loan support officer, which is Jeanette, which is lovely, and she goes and checks him every year, makes sure everything's okay. She's a support person for Mary if there's any problems. Because the worst thing ever for us is for our horses to go back into the welfare system, so we always wanted to be there for them. And every horse that we rehome, every single horse, if it needs to come back, we always have a stable for it. It's never a no. So if it needs to come back, it's always there because it's safeguarding for the rest of the lifetime. Yeah. And we also, with the veteran horses, the older, the golden oldies.
Yes.
The grey hair, bit of smelly breath because they've got a few diastemas. They're not 100% sound, but the field sound, and they just need somebody just to look at, to love them. For the rest of the days, we had the veteran scheme, which is the other side of the foster scheme, which is where we part fund some of the care costs. And those older horses get to go out to their, forever place.
Wow.
So it's lovely. So it's not us that have done it. I can tell you now, it's the horses that have shown us the way.
So Bertie essentially pioneered the
Of course it is,
the fostering scheme.
Of course it is, yeah. And I think that's why when we talk about Bertie, we all get so emotional because he made us, But horses made me. He made HAPPA. I mean, it's amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That horses, and over again, we have more Berties that come in, and we see them come in such states. And it's not always emaciated. Sometimes it's just traumatised. We have horses that come to us that don't want to be touched by humans. They stand with their heads in the corner of the stables. They don't want to be around humans. So that shows you how badly they've been treated. But our equine care officers, it's unbelievable. They will turn them round, They will walk on coals to make sure those horses can go out to new homes.
I mean, this is probably going to take longer than an hour's podcast or whatever it is. But how on earth the case then where you say you've got some horses that just literally stay in the corner of the stable, don't even look at the humans.
No.
How did they get them from going from that to being able to be fostered or be rehomed or?
Training, first of all.
Yeah.
We have support people that come in and help them. How it's so complex, it's so different with every single different horse. It's reading them. It's when you approach them, what's the body language? Why are they reacting in that way? Is there a certain part of their body that we're reacting more to?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's pain. Sometimes, they've had a poll injury and then somebody's tried to put a head collar on them and they've not wanted to move. So then they're associating the head collar to the pain. It kind of is, they can literally read a horse's body language. It's, the way they look at you, the way they, their facial expressions, even down to if their noses are a little bit ruffled, they'll know that there's some pain somewhere, it's finding it. It's finding where it is. That's the trick. Because a horse never intentionally, they don't intentionally want to be bad.
No.
They don't want to be naughty. They don't want to hurt people. It's a flight and fight instinct. Pepper, I suppose, is one that we could talk about. She was brought into us in foal. Yeah. And that's quite a common theme. I'll talk about it in a minute. She was brought to us in foal, and she was one of those that didn't want to give our humans eye contact. She didn't want to look at you. She didn't even want to be in the same space. So if you were to look over the stable door at her, she'd become extremely uncomfortable. Like just moving, turning, box walking, not wanting to be there. That is probably from some sort of associated thing with humans. It's something that's happened where she's just lost all trust. Now, the team, initially for that, would just simply stand at a door. Stand at a door and let her relax. When she relaxed, walk away from the door, Showing her that if she's relaxed, we'll take away the pressure, because that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's where it's praise, and then start to increase the amount of time they stand at the door. And then it'd go from a couple of minutes for standing and even looking at them. The fact that she'd turn and look, that's a good thing. So he'd walk away. So building it up like that. Until eventually you'd go for weeks. It could be months. It could be 6 months. You give them as much time as they want. But eventually they'll move towards them. And that's like the hurrah moment. When you look in the stable door and they actually move towards you, that's like, right, that's a good place to start. We're not going in, we're not putting head collar on. We're not going in, we're not touching you. But the fact you're walking towards us, that's the first moment building that horse's trust. So Pepper now, it was a bit of a fight with time with Pepper because she was having the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to be able to get near her just in case something would happen. And when feral ponies have falls, sometimes they become quite fall protective.
Mm-hmm.
So that again brings a flight and fight instinct out. So we had to make sure that we had some way we could get close when she had the fall. They worked really hard and they got her to the place when she had the fall. They could put a head collar on her, which was amazing. So she had the fall. The equine care officer could make sure she was safe. She didn't become fall aggressive, which was awesome.
Yeah.
She trusted that we weren't going to hurt her fall. And now she's had a fall's gone out to foster, and she's at HAPPA, and she's really happy.
Yeah.
She's happy. She leads the field. She has a brush. She has the farrier. She's made friends with the farrier. She's happy.
Friends with the farrier?
Friends with the farrier.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Because you see, when the equine care officer with the blue tops and, their own body language, etc., and the way they are, even, if it's a boy or a girl that's handling them, get used to that person.
Yeah.
But as soon as you introduce a farrier who smells of shoes or, the smoke, has a flat cap on or is dressed in different clothes, sometimes it brings back memories. So you've got to be so careful. So the farrier literally has to make friends with the horses, because if he doesn't and he just goes in to do the hoofs, it can set them back. So our farrier is awesome, Callum. He'll spend as long as it takes making sure that horse becomes friends with him first. So he'll just literally go in and give him a stroke. The first visit doesn't have to be having a trim or a shoe. He'll go in and give him a stroke, say hello, give him a treat if they need one. Yeah.
So he's probably, by the sounds of it, everybody's extremely patient.
Yes. And you have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be. Yeah.
That is fantastic.
You have to be.
And all the people, like you said, even people that come and do work at yours, the vets, farriers, all the same.
Yeah.
All
the
understand.
same. They have to be.
Yeah.
Because anything in one moment can set a horse back.
Mm-hmm.
It only has to be a quick movement or something can spark a memory, and it can set them right back to the beginning. So we've got to be so careful. And again, when we've finished rehabilitating horses, that's what we do. It's finding the right home for them to go to. Mm-hmm. They've got to be the people that understand our work, understand what we're there for, and really do have the patience, love in their hearts to give them the new home.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, I mean, there's so many questions I've got for you, but
you can carry on.
Whilst we're on it, we might as well move on to that side of it. So, the fostering side of it.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that? Like, how do you determine a home is right for a horse? Like, what's the process?
Right. So the foster scheme is there for a person who is passionate about horses and wants to help HAPPA. The same as children, really. You're taking the horse in and you're teaching them, you're educating them all the groundwork that they need to have, preparing them to come back for backing from us. And we have fosterers that take a group of young horses, they come back for backing, they take another group of horses because we trust them and they're part of HAPPA. They become an extension of our family.
Yeah.
So they become little mini people that, mirror the things that we've done with them. They have bespoke rehabilitation plans that go out with those young horses, because we have some cheeky ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the hand-reared ones are the cheekiest.
Yes.
We have a cheeky Cheeto at the moment.
Cheeky Cheeto?
Cheeky Cheeto, yeah.
Like as in the crisps?
Yeah, Cheeto the foal. Cheeky Cheeto. Cheeky Cheeto was born to What's It.
To What's It?
To What's It, yeah. Both named by members of the public, yep.
What, so people
name the horses as well, yeah.
Oh, really?
We allow them to name the horses so they're becoming part of our family.
That can be really dangerous, though.
I know it can be, yeah. It's a fight.
They did
Fight. Who's naming that horse?
They did that with the boat, didn't they, at one point?
Yes.
They Boaty McBoatface. Please tell me you've never had Horsey McHorseface or something like that.
We probably have, yeah. We've had Jesus, Joseph.
Jesus?
Yeah. So what we do is we take the top 5. That's normally what we do. We take the top 5 and then it goes to a vote.
Right.
But yeah, Cheeky Cheeto was born to What's It. What's It?
I can't. Yeah, you're right.
It was only 2 years old when she came to us in fall.
Yeah.
She was abandoned. She had nowhere to go. I mean, our mission statement is we strive to give a second chance to neglected, abused and unwanted horses. So with it, unwanted horses, any abandoned horses have a place with us. And at 2 years old, she'd been abandoned. She'd come to us. She was too young to be in fall, you know, too young. And when she arrived with us, we had her tested to be in fall. And fall watch is a strange thing. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but the mares always have the falls when no one's looking.
My wife is exactly the same. We've set up cameras in there. She was up every 2 hours checking the camera. And within that small gap, they think, I'm going to do it now. Yeah. I'm going to do it now.
Yeah, I'm going to get down and do it now.
Always. And I said, always. You're not going to see it. You're not going to be there.
Not looking. Yeah. The 5 minutes that you're not looking.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to go now.
Yeah. Go now, quick.
Yeah. I better be around just in case something happens. But in reality,
no.
They never
know
need
what
you.
They're doing. They got this. They got this.
I know.
They don't need us.
I'm going to record that and give that to my wife afterwards.
They don't need it. They don't need us. I'm sure they know. I'm sure they know when we're watching through the video. I'm sure they know when we're actually, peeping over the door to look. Yeah. But they just arrive. Yeah. They just arrive. Just there. Like from above. Yeah. It's just there.
And then you look back at the recording though, and they do. I mean, I know it, but it's like with such ease.
They go under where the camera is as well, like disappear in one spot that you can't see them. They know. they're so in tune. They know. Yeah. So we wandered on the yard one morning, and little Cheeto was there. Cheeky Chico. Yeah. And obviously, Nicole, our equine care supervisor, she's very in tune. She knows. It's not her first corral. No. We've had foals before. She knows what's right. She knows what they should be doing, etc. And Cheeto was suckling off but she couldn't distinguish whether she was getting any milk, and this went on for a couple of hours, and Nicole thought, no, something isn't right here. She's going back to that teat constantly, and she's not giving up. So it doesn't seem that she's getting anything. So hours later, because we've got to give them enough time, you're always told, leave them to it, see how they progress, watch for the first poop.
Yeah. Yep. Always got to watch out for that one. I remember
and then
you
have a little celebration, don't you? When it's a ride. Drop the kids off at the pool, So everybody's like, yay, the poo's here. Yeah, but that didn't happen. So Nicole was quite concerned. So she, well done to Nicole. She called the vet, and the vet came out. They took a blood test. They rushed it through. She hadn't had the first colostrum, and if we'd have left it another couple of hours, that foal could have been dead. Could have been, And that's when the work started. The equine care officers got the colostrum from a stud, frozen colostrum. The vets had to tube her with that because she wasn't responding. She didn't want to suckle. Had to tube it down to her stomach, which is not pleasant for a little foal. No. But it was necessary to save the foal. Tubed in, and then every 2 hours, bottle fed. A bit like going back to Bertie, we have to save this little foalie. We've got to give it the best chance. Second chances, that's what we're about. Every 2 hours, feeding it milk, going in, trying to put the foal on the teat to try and get the milk to come down. It was on some medication to try and drop the milk. Days went on, just no milk. No milk, nothing. So still, I think she's a couple of months old now. She's still on bottled milk. The Mary's expressing some milk, but not enough. Yeah. But again, equine care officers, if they hadn't intervened and Nicole hadn't made that phone call, it's quite simply that foal may not have been with us. And the vet even said, look, Whatsit wasn't ready to have a foal. Whatsit's 2 years old. Whatsit doesn't know. No. Whatsit's a child herself. Whatsit doesn't know what to do with a foal. The foal probably came early as well, so she didn't drop any milk. But the comforting thing is that Whatsit found us. Yeah. Because if Whatsit had the foal where she was, the foal wouldn't be with us anymore. But Cheeky Cheeto, now, because Cheeky Cheeto doesn't think she's a pony anymore, she likes humans more than horses.
That's always the case, yeah.
And because Whatsit's kind of like, yeah, do what you want, Cheeto. I don't really care. because I'm a young mum.
Yeah.
Not saying that all young mums are like that, by the way. That's quite controversial. But
in horse terms.
In horse terms, yeah.
Not in
what's
human
it's
terms.
like, yeah, I'm just hanging out. You can do what you want. You go off. You go to the other side of the field and go and chase hedgehogs or whatever you're doing. Yeah. So she's not being shown the way by mum. She's not. She doesn't know how to really react to situations. There's a funny video on our socials of one of the equine care officers putting a top on, and she's literally gurning on a t-shirt because she thinks that that's okay to do.
Right.
So the equine care officer really trying to instill in her now how to, be a pony.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know.
No.
But luckily, we've had 2 mares and 2 foals, also abandonment cases come into us. So those mares and those foals are now in the same field. You can see the dynamic changing because those mums are now saying, right, literally adopting Cheeto and saying, look, you don't do that to my baby.
Yeah.
You don't try and bite my bum. You need to
behave yourself. Need to be told.
Socialisation skills.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So we have 3 mares. We have What's It? Is it Moana? One's called Moana.
Love that.
Yeah. The other one's called Belle. Is that right, Julie? I can't remember. And Ariel. Jasmine, Belle. Moana and Ariel.
Oh,
yes.
So we know the theme.
And What's It in Cheetah.
And
so that blends well with the Disney theme, doesn't it?
Well, snacks at the movies, everybody likes their own thing.
But
Princess
which is nice to see them, but it's a double-edged sword because it's so sad.
Yeah.
Because all those mares have been abandoned in fall.
Yeah.
Just left, unwanted. Yeah. Nobody to love them. They didn't deserve that. They don't deserve to come to HAPPA. None of those horses deserve to be there. So we don't deserve to keep them there. They have a choice. If they had a choice, if you said to a horse, would you like to stay in a large stable yard? Or would you like to go out to a nice private home and find your person? I would say every single horse there would say, yeah, do you know what? I'm in.
Let's do that.
Sign me up. I want to go to a new home.
So with Cheeto, she...
Obviously.
She. So I don't know why I thought it was more of a boy's name.
Yeah, well, I did, but the public don't.
Doesn't matter. Anyway. So Cheeto gets to 3 years old? About 2-3 years old?
No, well, it's 6 months old when she's weaned, which could possibly where she'd be weaned a little bit earlier because she's so independent. Yeah. She's actually starting a little bit hard feed.
Right.
Because mum is still like, nope, I don't want to be a mum.
No.
I'm just quite happy with the single life, thank you very much. So Cheeto will probably be weaned when they're ready, when they're both ready. And then at 6 months old, what we do is we find them foster homes.
Right, okay.
So when they're weaned and they're comfortable with being weaned from their mum, and they're quite happy. They're starting to learn how to, be led, picking their feet up, all those things that they need to do as a youngster. Then we will go on to find them foster people, so foster homes. So they're lovely people that want to take the young horses and look after them really for us. And we part fund that, so we pay for some of their care. And we have foster homes waiting, so you can sign up to that foster scheme.
Oh, wow.
And when we have, I think Julie, one of our members of staff, actually had an inquiry recently about, would like to help out. So if you want to help out, fostering our youngsters, if you're an experienced equestrian person, is such a lovely thing to do. Yeah. Because you're giving back to horses, first of all, and you're enabling us to give those young horses the best start. Do you want any? Have you got space? Has your wife got space for foster
Shan
horses?
will always have space for horses. Me, on the other hand...
We've got 3.
Listen. If we had the space, probably, but she's filled it all up, you say. This is what she does. Yeah. She's addicted to them, probably similar to how
same
you were.
As us,
yeah, exactly. This is the problem. Yeah. When you've got addicts.
It's an addiction.
It's 100%.
Addiction. Yeah. So get that treated, really, shouldn't we?
In this case, no, I think it's...
we're okay.
Well, my wife's is probably a bit unhealthy, but that's a personal preference. So Cheeto, he gets she gets to foster home. Yep. They look after
her.
Yeah,
until she's old enough to then. What happens is a loan support officer goes out to her. Yeah. And then decides if she's going to be And there's two categories: a companion horse or a riding horse.
What are the differences?
So basically what we're doing is we're looking at conformation, how they're put together, whether they'd be able to support a rider, whether the behaviour would blend well with being a riding horse. And then when they come back to us at 4 years old, because there's a commitment from the fosterer that it is temporary, at 4 when they're developed, and the lawn spotter will make sure that they're developed enough to start the backing process. Even equestrian, that sometimes warm bloods, they don't mature enough until much later.
Yeah,
We've
got one here.
Yeah.
There's 3 and she's still, you can just tell she's
can't.
not ready yet.
No. So sometimes they go out 4 and say, do you know what? No, we'll leave them here for another couple of years until they've matured a little bit more and the musculoskeleton, skeletal system is more developed. And sometimes they'll go and they'll say, I'm not sure whether this horse is going to make a riding horse because of conformation. Then our equine manager goes and says, yeah, I think you're right.
For all those people who don't know, what is conformation?
So it's the way the horse is put together. So the way the neck sits, the head sits, the neck and the head sits on the horse, how much space there is for the saddle, how long the horse is, how short coupled the horse is, whether there's any kind of movement issues, that could make them weak under saddle. Because sometimes when we've rescued them, because they've had a really bad start in life and they've not got the nutrition that they needed right at word go, that can follow them throughout their lifetime.
Really?
Yeah. So sometimes we find that these things that start, they can have early onset of arthritis, joint problems, stifle, locking patellas. These awkward things, because of the nutrition not being quite right when they first come to us. It is quite complex.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Yeah, but if that horse is happy, healthy, conformation is good, then that horse comes back to us at HAPPA in Burnley, Lancashire.
Yeah.
Where we have Bertie B and Burnley Football Club. And we all talk a little bit northern.
That's nothing wrong with that.
So they come back to HAPPA. And they start the backing process with our incredibly skilled riders. The backing process that is done just takes as long as the horse takes. We have an AI that comes in and supports that work as well, and a local horseman that comes in and supports quite complex cases. And every step of the way, we're just monitoring: is it going well? Is it the best thing for the horse? Is it progressing well? Is it liking it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it liking it?
Sometimes you forget about that, don't you? It's like, is the horse actually enjoying this?
Yeah, because a lot of horses want a purpose. Aria is one that always comes to mind. She has to have, it's like a drug to her. She has to be ridden, because she's so intelligent. She has to be ridden. If she's not, she just gets such a grump.
Really?
Yeah, she gets such a grump, does Aria. She needs to do her work. She needs to have that purpose. And you can see the horses as they start the riding work. Some take to it; they love it. It's brilliant exercise. The bond between horse and human is fabulous. But some just don't take to it.
No.
So the ones that don't take to it, they become companions for us. They still have a purpose.
So what is a companion?
A companion is a horse that goes out to keep another horse company.
It's like a buddy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
So they have a purpose. They're going out and they're being a friend to another horse. They can go out and give, a dressage rider another horse that stays with another horse whilst they're out riding. Some horses just like to go on the trailer and go accompany another horse to an event.
On a day out.
Yeah, some just like a jolly. So, companions have a purpose.
Is that because they're herd animals, right?
Yeah,
so they don't want to be alone.
They don't want to be alone, yeah. And we have a really high success rate rehoming companions. Because you know what? Some people don't want to ride them.
No.
Some people just want to look after them and love them and have somebody that shows them love, and is there to listen to the walls and conversation, and they're so empathetic, our horses.
Oh, yeah.
They have so much worth. I describe them as big dogs. We have people that come to the farm and say, "Oh, I'm scared of horses." I said, they're more scared of you than you are. They're more scared of you than you are of them.
Yeah.
And they all have the personalities. And we have so many stories about horses, that the big personalities that we always giggle about, the funny moments, and things that have happened. We had a donkey. Oh, Pilgrim the donkey.
Go on.
Oh, Pilgrim the donkey.
Pilgrim the
Where do I
donkey.
start? If there's some old staff members that are watching this, you'll remember Pilgrim. You're dealing in its moment in time. Pilgrim the donkey, he was hand-reared many years ago. Even before I started at HAPPA, was still there when I started.
Yeah.
And his mum had passed away when he was born. Again, he was abandoned and he was brought to HAPPA. So he didn't have a mum right from word go. And in the 80s, wherever he came to us, there was not a lot of health and safety around, was there? So
No.
there was the staff room and they had settees and they had a dog bed, and he lived in the dog bed in the staff room.
No, he didn't.
He did. Yeah, he did. And the person that looked after him, and if she's watching this, she'll giggle as well, used to smoke, inside whilst he was on the dog bed while she was giving him the bottle of milk.
Yeah.
So, as I've already said, the hand-reared ones are always the cheekiest.
Mm-hmm.
And he grew to have the biggest personality, Pilgrim the donkey. He was such a character. If you created a cartoon character, Pilgrim would have been the main star. He hated children with a passion. So when it was school holidays, everybody was like, what are we going to do with Pilgrim? What if he comes in contact with a child? What are we going to do with him? Because he was such a character, he hated children. But he had one member of staff that he absolutely adored called Mark Mazza.
Yeah.
If you're watching Mark, you know what I'm talking about. And he would do anything for Mark.
Really? Why?
I don't know.
He wasn't the one who hand-reared him, right?
No, he would do anything for Mark. No. And he would do anything for Mark. Anything. He would walk on coals for Mark. Anybody else?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. The amount of times he'd drag somebody, ran off. We used to have a farrier that came at the time that he would literally roll his eyes when we said Pilgrim's on the farrier list for you. He just didn't want to do what you wanted him to do.
No.
He was just such a
character.
Yeah, Pilgrim. And we have some farmland around our farm, obviously, where people walk. It's like a public footpath.
Yeah.
And because the lady, when she used to feed him, smoked, if anybody smoked on that footpath, he would harass them.
What, as in for food? Because he thought he was going to get fed.
Going to get fed. So he'd get phone calls, from council. You've got a donkey on your footpath. Yeah. Keeps harassing people. And we're like, well, were they smoking? So, because he was connecting the dots because he was smoking. Yeah. Of course he were. Yeah. Of course he were. But Pilgrim was with him. Again, Pilgrim stayed with us longer than he should have done.
Yeah.
He was around the time he got Bertie. He should have gone to a new home. But the brilliant, end to that story is that he found his new Mark Mazza. So he found Neville.
Yeah.
An older gentleman that he absolutely adores now. And he literally goes into his tool shed with him. He gets his screwdrivers. He spreads his shavings around his bed himself. They literally put it in the middle and he does it. He follows him around. He won't leave his side. Because Pilgrim just needed that person. And that's why it's so important to us to find them for him.
Well, you probably just answered the question. And like when you are looking for a home for, after the fostering process has been completed, is this the sort of process that you have to go through? Do people come multiple times, or like how does that work when you get a horse or a donkey in this case back from fostering?
Yeah.
You decide whether they're going to be a companion or a riding horse. Then what happens? Do people come and not view them, but come and meet them?
Yeah. So it's almost as if we're creating dating profiles. It is. It's kind of like, what's this profile? What's this person got to be? What do they like? What will suit this horse?
Yeah.
And then what we do is we advertise them on our website and you can apply. So you apply for that horse. And what I appeal to people is don't get disheartened if you're not picked, because sometimes what we're trying to do is trying to find the perfect match. And sometimes it's just one thing that matches, whether it's 24-hour turnout, whether they've got another horse, what's the other horse like, where they live, whether it's near a stream, because sometimes horses that have sweet itch don't want to live near a stream. So we profile the horse and what they need, and then when we apply on the website, we try and find the perfect match. And then they're invited to Chausey Farm, HAPPA in Burnley.
In Burnley. Yeah.
To meet the horse initially, and if that goes well, if the horse likes you and you like the horse, then it progresses to a handling assessment for a companion or a riding assessment for a rideable. And every step of the way we're honest, we try and make sure that you are comfortable, the horse is comfortable. And then the absolute ultimate goal for us is to give that horse a second chance in its new home. So we will try our hardest to find it the best home. And we don't want it to come back. We want it to be with you for the rest of its lifetime. So that commitment is both sides. We were committed to find the right home for that horse. And then after that, when you're the perfect match, if your dating profiles match, you swipe left or swipe right. When your dating profiles match, then our equine inspectors go and have a look where you're thinking of keeping the horse, checking things like fence lines, stables, if there are horses there, everything to make sure that the environment is the best for the horse. As long as that all goes well, we arrange transport, you pay your fees, and then the horse comes to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds very not a long process, but I suppose it has to be, doesn't it? Because if you go, oh yeah, that's fine, then the chances are that horse may come back to you.
Yeah.
And two, that the same
we want to
issues
keep
might
people
come up.
safe.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate thing. We need to keep you and the horse, especially with children. When you're trying to find a pony for a child, or a child's come to ride the pony, sometimes we say, come back a couple of times, do you want to take the horse out on the road? Is it important to you that you hack out on a regular basis? We also have the Project Horse scheme, which is a new scheme we launched last year, where we want to give trained professional equestrians the opportunity to take our horses that are just starting the groundwork and continue that work themselves.
Right.
So we're now working with the local, top equestrians to say, if this horse is something that you think would be something that would compete in the future, you're able to take that horse on and do part of the work yourself.
Oh, what a great idea! So they basically take it as a sort of like a training for them, and also the training for the horse as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
So they're the people that can
idea.
Actually sometimes probably do a better job than we do. I would have to say, put the teeth back in, but sometimes perhaps do a better job, because we realise that there's questions out there that want to give, top equestrians that want to give rescue horses their second chance, the same as we do. So if they're able to do that, why not? And again, that's the horses that we've had in. We don't just get Shetlands, we don't just get Cobs, we get warm bloods.
Really?
Reuben won recently. He's an Oldenburg. He's top of it. He could be a top class horse. So why do we have the choice whether he goes to somebody who's skilled or professional enough to continue the work? He's now with somebody that's skilled and professional enough to continue his work. And that person messaged me on a regular basis to tell me how he's going. And I hope in the future he'll be out representing HAPPA at the top, top competitions across the UK. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Bertie was a fabulous competition horse, Bertie B.
Yeah.
He was fabulous. He was winning rosettes across the UK with Mary Hen.
Oh,
he's retired. He's retired now. He's living his best life in retirement in the field. We call him a paddock potato now, but yeah, he's having his best life with Mary now.
Sorry, I never heard that before. A paddock potato, you're making me giggle.
That's a Burnley theme.
A paddock potato.
Yeah.
I think if I was a horse, I'd be a paddock potato.
Yeah, well, it's a companion, isn't it?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, companions love to be in a field.
So all the horses that I bet you must get inundated with all of these stories and all the updates and everything.
We've got so many stories to tell.
Fantastic.
We could write a book. We really could write a book.
You should do.
With the amount of stories we've got, the amount of tales we've got to tell, the funny anecdotes like along the way.
Yeah.
I can remember going to, when I used to work on the yard, I turned up to a stables and we were going for a little grey Welsh. I won't name any names because people might connect the dots. We were going to pick up a little Welsh Section A pony. And when we turned up, me and Janine at the time, we brought the trailer to put the pony on, this lady came out and she had her hands bandaged and she had bags over her hands. And I'm going to Janine, how's that? She got bandaged on her hands and bags on her hands. So we walked in, she gave me the head collar and went, right, you're all right then. She went back into the house. I thought, this is not a nice place to be. So I put the head collar on the horse. We opened the stable door. I can tell you now, that horse shifted and it galloped through that door. It took me with it. It took the rope right through my hands, right up down my neck, and it literally rope burned the side of my neck and went bolting down the field. And Janine turned to me and she went, "That's why, Sarah."
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, read the room, Janine. Read the room.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what with that sort of horse, that type of horse, what do you do then? Because can you take that? Is it safe for like your staff?
Well, to be honest, we did get hold of the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And we did put it on the trailer after a lot of battling with the horse. But of course, horses learn behaviour very quickly.
Mm.
So when it's allowed to do something and it does it again and it does it again and it does it again, that's a behaviour. So what that horse had connected was the door coming open,
bang,
just going.
Yeah, away.
Because nobody had intervened, nobody had stopped that behaviour. Nobody in that moment had gone, "Oh, what do we do to stop that horse doing it?"
Mm-hmm.
There's ways you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's ways you can literally. I won't want to explain it because people might try it themselves. You know, when a horse bolts, turn the other way and run in the other direction because it knocks them off balance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that moment of knocking them off balance sometimes can create a reverse behaviour and more of a connection to that moment to actually start them to think, well, is that a good idea or is it not a good idea?
Yeah.
We ended up, going through the training process with that pony. It went back out to a home and it did. Yeah, rehabilitate.
Oh, wow.
What had happened, this is many, many years ago, is we probably didn't at that time, again, this is an instance of a horse teaching us the way,
Mm-hmm.
we probably didn't give that person enough support.
Mm-hmm.
In that time, we'd started to rehome. We hadn't really thought about what support to give the borrowers.
Mm-hmm.
We changed the way we did things to then have somebody at the end of the telephone to say, "I'm having that issue. What's your advice? What can I do?"
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's an instance of horses showing us the way.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done this ourselves. The horses have told us, maybe we should have intervened earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody should have gone to that person and asked, "Are you okay with that horse?"
Mm-hmm.
Our loan support officers contact our borrowers on a regular basis. They become our borrower, we call them borrowers, not little people that take our horses. Our borrowers become friends with their loan support officers. So they're always there. They can text them, they can ring them, they can ask them questions. It's a support system there for them if they need them the most.
Yeah, again, you've mentioned the amount of different roles that you have at HAPPA. So how many actual volunteers and staff have you got working at any one time?
We've got 40 staff at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah, full and part-time.
Wow.
And we have probably about up to 10 volunteers. Yeah, we do, but it's a huge. But I don't know whether you've been to HAPPA in Burnley.
I haven't been, but actually, I would love to come and visit. Yeah,
there's actually a cafe there as well. It's quite an award-winning cafe.
That was one thing that did come on. When I was doing my research. You've got an award-winning cafe.
Yeah, we do award-winning cafe.
What are the awards? What are the awards of this?
Visit England, highly recommended. Yeah, we're going in for another couple of awards this year. We're dog friendly, so we're completely dog friendly.
Love that.
There's a reason for that. It's not just about bringing your dogs. What we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate the issues that we have with dogs attacking horses at the moment.
Right. Okay.
And horses being scared of dogs. So what you're doing when you're bringing your dog to us, you're actually helping us with your work because you're showing the horse the dog and the dog the horse.
Mm-hmm.
So you're helping us by bringing a dog to site, because what we wouldn't like to happen is if one of our horses went to a home and it hadn't been desensitized to a dog, and if something ever happened, you would hope that horse had enough confidence that dog was not going to do anything, and would just stand still. So you're helping us. So in a way, you're actually helping us rehabilitate the horses by bringing your dogs to the site, which is quite nice.
It's really, really nice. Again, usually if you've got horses, you've got dogs.
But some of our horses never seen a dog.
Really?
Never seen a dog. Some of the rescue cases, probably never seen a dog. It can be, it can be the scariest thing they've ever met.
We've got a puppy. Well, how old is she now? She's 7 months old now. And I don't know how she does it. She gets into the field and she starts playing with Rose, who's like a 17-hand womp, who's the 3-year-old I was talking about before. Just plays. Yeah. They just play with each other. I don't know whether she thinks she's a horse or a dog or whatever is going on, but completely no problem.
But could you imagine if a horse is not, if your dog went to play with a horse and the horse literally went, whoop, You know, it could be the flight instinct to kick in, the adrenaline would run, and you'd be in a really serious situation.
And especially if you're in a hack and a dog comes about, and I've seen some nasty videos with them, but then, other people just walking the dogs nicely.
We try and expose them to everything, umbrellas, children, tractors. We drive them, ride them, we put the tractor out, they can see the tractor. Builders stuff. Sometimes, if they're around HAPPA and there's some builder stuff, some things might go missing because we want to show them things. So we've got to desensitize them as much as we can. The more we can show them, the better chance they're going to have out at home.
So people can come to HAPPA for a day out.
Yeah.
Basically. So they'll come. Obviously you've got the amazing cafe. What else can people do at HAPPA when they come?
They can meet all the horses. So we have the rescue stories on the stables. So they can read all about them. They can sponsor. They want to sponsor. They can sponsor one of our horses. So you can really become part of our work. You can literally sponsor one and you get all the updates. You get to know how it is, what it's seen, what it's done.
Wow.
And you can become part of celebrating when that horse goes to a new home. So we celebrate with you. So you're actually becoming part of HAPPA. You can become a member. So that's kind of for the people that are from afar. You can become a member. You can get all the updates, our biannual magazine. And sponsors and members can just come and see us for free, 7 days a week, 11 till 4, 363 days a year, because don't rock up on Christmas Day, on Boxing Day, which has happened before.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. So you can come and see us and see the great work that we do and just become part of our community, because it is a community. You don't have to like horses to come to HAPPA, because if you like a good meal, have a meal in the cafe, one meal for you, one meal for them. That's what we say. You're eating your meal, but actually you're supporting another horse's province.
So all the profit goes back into from the cafe,
back into the charity.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So it's not just a cafe, it's a cafe where if you enjoy a meal, you're supporting us. Or you have an ice cream, you're supporting us. A scoop of second chances if you're having an ice cream.
Definitely.
And we have at HAPPA, it's such a community feel. We have people that, I don't know how they afford it. They come every day.
Really?
They come every day.
Wow.
We had a gentleman called Malcolm, an elderly gentleman, and he'd come for his breakfast every day.
Love that.
Every day.
Part of his routine.
Yeah, every day. And he'd sit in the chairs upstairs because it's a really nice view, and he'd sit there with his magazine and have his breakfast, and he'd chat to all the staff and ask about the horses. And that was important to him.
Yeah.
That was his life. And he became part of and we see it over and over again. Regular people like faces, and you think, yeah, you get us. You're part of our work.
So you say as well, you've got 40 members of staff. Like, I can only imagine how much staff wages are. Can you take us through like some of the costs that are associated with running HAPPA, so people understand that actually on a daily basis or a monthly or yearly, whatever it is, how much it's actually costing to make sure that these horses are safe?
Well, for the whole organisation, it's $22,000 a week to keep us going. That's how much it costs. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of pennies. When you say it out loud, it's a lot of pennies.
It's a lot of money.
But that's to do it right. They have the veterinary treatments that they have. We do x-rays, we treat sarcoids, we do scans, we rehabilitate them to the highest quality we possibly can. Vet fees alone, I think one recently was $6,000 for the month. And that's because we've had horses come in that we'd needed to, really get to the bottom of why they have skin conditions, or, they're lame, or, we've had them come in with injuries that we had to treat. Of course, Cheeto and What's It in Cheeto, that was a high vet's fee because they needed round-the-clock care. They needed multiple vet visits a day to make sure that they just survived. They have physio. They're better kept than I am. They do. They have Equisage machines.
Equisage?
Equisage. Have you not seen an Equisage machine?
I've actually no.
Oh my goodness.
Sounds delightful.
It's a horse massage pack. And when I've done my back, sometimes I do sit with it.
Do you bang it on you?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I do. which is the best thing. Yeah, we have equissage machines. We have an isolation unit for every horse that comes into us has to be isolated for a time frame, especially if it's a rescue horse.
Yeah.
Because if it has, I know it's quite prevalent at the moment, things like strangles, or it has ringworm, or it has contagious zoonotic disease, 21 days is the recommended amount of time to make sure it's kept separate from the herd. So we have a dedicated isolation unit, which is all the bells and whistles. It has a round pen outside, for the green horses that are diagnosed with nothing. It has its own horse shower area, solarium unit.
Wow.
Wash area, separate toilet area for the staff if it's a code red, so they don't have to come down onto the main yard. And then on the main yard, they also have a shower area. They have a solarium unit.
They don't want for nothing.
No, they have weighing machines. We have weighing Wednesdays for the fatties.
Weighing Wednesdays.
Yeah, we have like a block where the ones that are a bit plump come in. Yeah, and they get weighed on a regular basis, and they go on specialist diets. We have nutritionists. The farrier, obviously.
So this, obviously, I run the business here, and we need X amount of money profit to be able to actually run.
Yeah.
That's not to make to pay the staff, pay the electric, everything. Where do you get a lot of the funds from? Is it a lot of donations, or is it?
I can. The public. I'm sorry, but the way we get our money, we get no government funding.
No government.
Local support is phenomenal. The community spirit of coming to use the cafe and actually supporting us in that way. Shopping, we do have an on-site shop. We have a second-hand equestrian area where people donate items, like a equestrian charity shop.
Right.
And we think that that's a good way to kind of treat the cost of living crisis at the moment. If you've got a horse and you're struggling financially, we're giving you somewhere to come to get items that you wouldn't normally need. You don't need to be buying new.
No.
Reuse, recycle.
Definitely.
So we have brilliant supporters that donate items. We have one lady that goes around the UK and fills a horse box full of...
Really?
Yeah, we do. She
wow.
fills a horse box full of... She goes around the whole of the UK and she fills it with stuff for us to sell secondhand. So her support is phenomenal. The amount of money we've raised through that is awesome. We have legacy givers, legacy and will. So gifts in people's wills.
Okay.
We never know why, because you can't speak to somebody.
Yeah.
Honestly,
yeah,
but people that are passionate about horses and really support the work that we do and have jumped on board with us and know that how we are doing it is how they want welfare to look like. 64% of our income is through legacies and gifts in people's wills.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And when you come to HAPPA and you look around and you see all the improvements that we've made, the new cafe, that was in 2014, the isolation unit, the yard, everything that we've got there is just through public support. So nothing else.
You don't get anything through the government?
Nope.
Why?
I don't know. No, because we're not a human charity.
That doesn't... Yeah, but surely if you weren't here, there'd be a hell of a lot.
Yes. Yeah. The amount of abandonments that are on the rise. I was speaking to an MP yesterday, and he says that he's going to have more conversations with me about it and see what he can do.
Yeah.
But we don't get the opportunity to apply for. When you hear of funds that have been invested in another charity, and I'm not saying that other charities' work is not great.
No,
I think everybody does a fantastic
100%,
job.
100%, yeah.
But I kind of feel like with animal, I'm sure your sister, she has her own thing.
Yeah.
It's hard because we don't have the constant safety blanket for having funds, given to us.
Yeah. You don't have like a baseline.
No, we don't have a baseline.
No.
So we've got to, year after year, we've got to be unique in our approach and ensure that our public feel special.
Yeah.
We're creating a hub where people can come and be part of our work, and that's generally what we want them to do. We want equestrians that support us giving second chances to horses and find them new homes to come and rehome horses from us. Don't go and buy, rehome, because those horses have worth. they have a career ahead of them that they should always have had and didn't have the chance, so that's why we are passionate about making sure they go to new homes. And everybody that comes to site, they can see the stories of the horses on the stable doors. They can read the stories. They can actually physically see how well that horse looks now. They can go and have a lovely meal. They can talk to any member of staff about any of the horses.
Yeah.
They can go and see the girls in the shop. They can join our Facebook Live on a Friday at 12.
What do you do on the Facebook Live?
They sell the second-hand items.
Oh, like on an auction thing?
They do,
awesome.
yeah. So they're on HAPPA Direct on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's our on-site shop.
Brilliant.
So if you tune in on a Friday, 12 till 1, it's quite humorous, as always anything that we do is, they sell off they sell to members of the public for donations. We can get gifted on everything that we sell for charity. And they raise funds through doing that every Friday, 12 till 1.
Oh, wow.
And you can pick up a real bargain. So, sometimes they have limit. I mean, it's very posh, isn't it?
Limits. Yeah.
They have the Cure sometimes,
Very
classy.
nice.
Yeah, Harry Hall.
Good. Awesome. No, that's fun. So, but you sounds like I've not heard of. Again, I've not spoken to loads and loads of charities, but that's a really great way of raising funds getting used items that people no longer want. Because it's like, how often do you have your joppers or whatever it is that you're quite happy just to
and you're
get rid
helping
of.
us with our work.
Yeah.
That stuff that would normally go to the tip or you just leave in the stable. Or, everybody's got a tack room, haven't they? Tack room with the rugs at the back that particularly smelly, maybe a few mice living in them. The great thing is you can donate them in any state because we have a washer on site. So we wash them, reproof them, and then we resell them. So it's a cycle. And you can pick up anything that you need for your horse. You don't have to buy new.
Great idea.
Sorry, I know you've got a shop. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Oh no,
it's
all
reused, and we like to look after the environment as well. So we're doing our part as equestrian people to make sure that we're not filling those infills with equestrian products.
Yeah,
you're able to buy them from us secondhand and support HAPPA whilst you're doing it.
It's a great idea. I mean, we've probably got some stuff here we can give you.
That'd be fabulous.
Definitely.
It'd be fabulous. And recently, I'm so grateful. Harry Hall has donated some jackets for us.
Oh, wow.
The same one that I had on today. So they've donated some jackets. And the yard team are so impressed because they always want a nice jacket.
Well,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, the volunteers, the staff who do.
Yeah,
they're unsung heroes, aren't they?
Of course they are, and they deserve it.
100%.
They deserve anything they get. So they're all going to be mini-me's with the same coats on now. So we're giggling about it.
And especially winter's on its way. So
they'll
be happy.
Yeah, we'll be happy. Because during the summer days, it's a lovely job. During the winter, not so.
Now, I know you've said about the expenditure. We've got your regular stuff, your staff. You've got your electric, your everything else. How much does it cost? Time, money, if you want to put a value on it. If we discussed before you came on we started recording about the false reports from many years ago from social media.
Yeah.
Like how much of a drain, and if you can give us a few stories, well, how much of a drain on HAPPA does that impact you?
Well, of course, if you've got a false report of cruelty and neglect, then you've got the equine inspector's time, travelling to that horse, the time calling people, the time showing up when the horse isn't there. Social media is a great thing, and I support social media. It's such a good tool for sharing news, promoting great work. But what it's not great at is false news. We have people that don't really understand that if you've reported a horse to us as a welfare organisation or to other welfare organisations, please believe that they are dealing with it. Don't think that because you've reported, no action is being taken. But we are unable to talk to you about the details because of data protection. We can't tell you what's going on behind the scenes. And what we see more repeatedly now is on social media. Somebody will post something and then everybody will start to comment, start to share, start to like, sad face, cryy face, start to tag other organisations on there. That is totally detriment to the work that we do. And the reason why, and I was talking about the equine inspectors, talking to them about that recently, the reason why is because without knowing it, if it is a real concern and something that organisations are dealing with, you are literally giving that person the heads up that we are on their case.
So if somebody's been reporting, they see it on Facebook, go,
Yeah.
oh God, HAPPA's been
Yeah.
tagged in it, then they'll go and what?
Yeah,
Move
they'll
the
move the
horse?
horse. Yeah, we've had it where equine inspectors have turned up to cases, and very willing to look at that and start the Animal Welfare Act, implementing that, giving improvement notices, even vet certificates to seize that horse in that moment. It's not there. It's no longer there. And we truly believe that in instances when horse owners that are neglecting and are totally doing things that they shouldn't be doing with the horses, and they see that and somebody's sent them that post, they know that we're coming, and the equine inspectors don't get the chance to see that horse, and that horse is not getting a chance of rescue because you are stopping it in its tracks. So I would appeal to people when they see something on social media, first think, is it real? Is it a current post, or is it somebody sharing false news from 10 years ago that's already been... We've had things appear on social media that are cases we've dealt with 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
10 years?
Yeah, 10 years ago. Pictures coming back round, people then sharing it. We have a guy in Scotland that repeatedly gets reported that hasn't even got horses anymore. It's an old case that we don't need to go back round to. So social media is great, and the emotionally fueled situation of seeing a horse in a terrible state, believe me when I say we get that. We get emotional seeing... We are emotional people. We know how it feels, and we know how sad it is to you to see that. But when you've reported it, please, we are dealing with it. We have to follow processes. There's the Animal Welfare Act, Section 4, Section 7, that our equine inspectors are fully versed in. And it's not as simple as going and taking a horse. You can't just fly in there, take it, and that's it. Because the worst thing that could ever happen is us to take a horse in, like Bertie. Their owners, Kiwi and Bertie's owners, were successfully prosecuted for what they did. The worst thing for us is to go and build a case, pace, and have to give that horse back. That's the hardest thing. I think we've only had one that we've ever had to give back. So please believe that we have to do it the right way. It's not as easy of just going to grab a horse. You've got to give improvement notices. You've got to speak to the owners. You've got to interview them. You've got to do PACE, police and criminal evidence. You've got to build a case. You've got to have a police incident number. You've got to have a vet certificate before you can even... A vet has actually got to say that horse is suffering before you can take that horse. So it's not just that one equine inspector. There's a platter of people that has to come on that to make sure that we do the right thing.
So if you get a report of a horse being neglected, what is the time frame usually on average for that horse, if it's found to be neglected, for it to be in your care?
It can be literally 24 hours. So if our equine inspector goes out and it fits the Animal Welfare Act, and we know that it's suffering and it's been neglected, and we have the police number, and we get a vet out who certifies that that horse is suffering, we are able to act. We can take that horse in that moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be longer than that.
Yeah, but what we have to do is we've got to build the case, and we have absolutely got to be confident that if it goes to court, that we will win the case. Because if we don't, there's a lot of expenditure through, if our equine inspectors haven't got all the police and criminal evidence, evidence that they need, vet reports, samples, fecal samples, worm egg counts, witness statements, vet reports.
Jeez, wow.
It can really be thrown out of court. So we have to build a case. It's almost like a detective program.
It sounds it.
It's quite complex.
What sort of powers do you have? Because again, if I saw a horse in the field and I'm just playing devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. And I thought, right, well, that's malnourished, that it needs saving. And I went and took that horse.
You have no power.
I have no. So what powers does HAPPA
We
have?
don't even have power. The police have power. That's why we get the police involved. The police and the vet are the people that say and say you can take that horse.
So the police give you the authority to go and take that horse.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's not just like some random person going into a field, putting a collar on
and I think that's the common misconception. I think that people genuinely think sometimes that somebody can just rock up, see a horse neglected, take it, because you are going to get prosecuted. If you do that, you are the person that's stealing that horse.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as simple. It's not as simple as that. And the world's litigation now, the world's changing.
Well, that was,
You have to do things right.
That was going to be my next question. Like, is there any parts of like what you guys do through the process that you think this is totally unnecessary?
Totally unnecessarily, I would challenge is, I think the Control of Horses Act is a great thing.
What is that?
Okay.
Control
of Horses Act is a great thing, but do I think it's being utilised by naughty people in a wrong way? Yes, I do. The Control of Horses Act is a way that if a horse is abandoned in your field, your garden, a play park, a school playground, the Control of Horses Act is a way that you can act. It's what it says on the tin. But what has to happen is the horse's ownership has to be transferred to the owner of the property or the owner of the field. So the Control of Horses Act states right from when you found the horse what to do to then be able to act. So you've got to put notices out, you've got to get a police and criminal evidence number, you've got to report it, and we help people with that in following the process. You've got to become the owner of that horse through the Control of Horses Act before we can take that horse in at HAPPA for you. There's quite a time frame there.
Yeah.
I think that abandonment is on the rise due to the cost of living crisis. I think there's two types of people. There's genuine, really lovely question people that ring us for advice on a regular basis, and we try to help out as much as we can that are in financial difficulty. Giving them a place where they can buy question products. I say to the shop team, if somebody comes in and they want something and they haven't got the money, just give it to them. You know, if they need a turnout rug for a horse, just give it to them. But then we have the other spool of people that think it's easy just to abandon a horse in a field. Because what's happening is if abandoning the horse in a field, they've twigged on that then the person that owns the property will become the owner of the horse, and then it comes to us. Abandonment cases is up by, I'd say, 80% of our intakes at the moment are abandonment cases.
80%?
Yeah.
So how many do you get a week or a month? Or does it vary?
It varies. All the mares and foals are abandonments. They're all abandonments. We've had about 3 others that have been abandonments recently. That have been found in people's property, in the fields, and they've rang us for advice. And we have a responsibility to protect that horse. We need to be there to safeguard them. So we talk people through the process. We give them their advice. If they are equestrian people, we say, look, do you want the horse? After the 2 weeks, if you want it and it becomes yours, you keep it. But after that time frame, if you want us to intervene or another organisation, we can, but you've got to then sign that horse over to us as owners. So then we become the owner of the horse as a charity, and we can take that off the field owner.
Sounds so complicated. So we've got a field here. So if we find a horse tomorrow morning in that field, that horse is our responsibility. Is that
not
am I understanding that
not
correctly?
Initially. You'd have to ring us, and then we'd go, well, you need to put a notice out on the field gate to say, a horse has been abandoned. Can the owner come forward?
Right.
You'd need to report it to the police. But if that horse is still there within a time frame, yes, you become the owner of that horse. So if that horse begins to suffer, you are accountable.
Really?
You are accountable. Yeah.
Wow.
It's very complex.
Yeah.
So we have horses being signed over to us through people that aren't equestrian people, defenceless people that have had horses left in a field on their property or in the garden, that have no clue what to do, don't know how to look after horses, but are trying to do their best.
Yeah.
And then we have to go, we have to be responsible for that horse, and we take those in. And that's when their journey with us starts. And that horse, they've no right, they've no right to abandon that horse. Those horses don't deserve to come to us. Those mares and foals should have been at loving homes.
Yeah.
They should never have come to HAPPA.
No, now, again, I totally agree with you. Like, if you ever have a horse, you've got responsibility. That the horse's health and welfare is above all. Now, obviously, there's on the other side, the flip side of that, life happens. Things happen where there's a reason why these horses are being put in there. Like you said, cost of living, God knows what else can happen. If someone has got a horse and then something like this happens to them, what should they do?
You mean if they were in financial difficulty?
Is in financial difficulty and they're thinking, oh, I can't do this anymore. And they're the types of people that will just plonk a horse in the field. What should they do?
Ring us.
Ring
us
guys.
for help.
Just ring you guys.
Ring us. Ring other welfare organisations. I know that other welfare organisations, we don't do this, but they have like rehoming sites.
Really?
Where they actually have a places for you to put the horse to try and find a new home for you, where good-willed people go on there to find horses to rehome that know that there's an abandonment epidemic going on at the moment. So just reach out for help. You're not on your own. If you're struggling, don't just contact HAPPA. Contact other welfare organisations because there's things you can do. Reduce your spends. Stop buying the fancy higher brand stuff. Some of the lower brand things that do exactly the same job. Look at, can you turn the horse out? Can it live out longer? Can you source hay at more reduced cost? Can you look at horse sharing with people? There's all sorts of things that you can do to reduce your costs, but for goodness sake, don't just leave it in a field.
You don't need to put the horse through
because that horse doesn't deserve that.
No, there's other options as well.
Yeah, there is
other
options.
Well, you should never actually get to that situation because you can always sort it out by contacting you guys.
Contact any welfare. We work very closely with other welfare organisations. We all do a fantastic job. We work with the RSPCA, we work with World Horse Welfare, we work with sometimes Blue Cross, we work with Bransby Horses. We've always got somebody. If we don't have the answer, somebody else will have the answer. But please do the responsible thing. And if you have an elderly horse and and it has health problems, don't rehome it to somebody else. What's the right thing for that horse in that moment? You took on the responsibility to care for that horse for the rest of its lifetime. When it needs you the most to make that hard decision, and you need to think about perhaps ending its life. I know it's a sad subject to talk about. We have to do the responsible thing. You've got to think, is it the best thing for this horse to go out to another home at this age and in this health with these health issues? So please be responsible as horse owners and think, what's the best thing for the horse first and foremost?
I mean, just going on that as well, I always go by a bit of a rule. If a horse can't be a horse anymore, then okay, you could probably start thinking about it a little bit. But if the horse is in good health or whatever it is, and they do need to rehome, contact someone like you guys or just if they're struggling,
just reach out for help.
Just don't be.
You're not on your own. I think a lot of equestrian people, the preconception is you're on your own. People judge. We don't judge.
No,
we're there to help. We'd rather help you and give you top tips or give you a way to help you than we'd ever judge. It's not in our nature. We're brilliant people.
Well, I suppose you understand and you've seen it that people's circumstances change. And that's what you're here for.
There's always a reason.
Yeah, of course, there's always a reason.
There's always a reason. If you just need somebody to talk to, just give us a ring. Amanda Berry is awesome. She can talk to you about anything. She's just there for you. The same as with the lawn support office. If you're a equestrian person, you need somewhere to go. We're passionate about being a non-judgmental place for equestrian people. There's no silly questions. Come and ask us whatever you want to ask. And we always have the horse is always first and foremost. It's always about the horse, and we'll always do the best thing we can for that animal.
It certainly sounds like it. I mean, the one of the things you talked about social media before and people tagging you in posts, but do you ever see like how do I put it nicely? You know, a lot, like you said in the beginning, where a lot of people give you advice when they have no idea what they're talking about. Like, do you get a lot of people? Do you get any negatives? Is probably what I'm trying to ask. Like, do you get any negative people coming? Because obviously, I can see how amazing you do, and how the first and foremost most important part is the horse's health and welfare. And do you ever get some people going, "Well, you didn't do this right. Well, you should have done this. You should have
All
done."
the time.
But how do you deal with those types of people?
I think we just, to be quite honest, I think sometimes we just ignore it. And we have a say, I don't know whether we're going to include this, HAPPA, it's never the pony, it's always the people, you know. I've not yet met an equestrian person that doesn't think they know best. You know, every equestrian person seems to think that they know more than the last equestrian person. I don't believe that. You know, every day is a school day in equestrianism. You never know everything. And I always say, you know, unless it's factual, don't have an opinion. If you have facts that back it up, then we're ready to listen. But if you think that on social media that these welfare organisations are not acting, that's not fact. That's an opinion. There's people across the industry that work extremely hard, you know, to rescue, rehabilitate, rehome any animal. They don't need something that's not factual going around social media, because think about the people behind it. We hear about, and this is quite dramatic, I suppose, we hear about in the celebrity industry people committing suicide, you know. In welfare, the trauma of seeing what happens to horses, you lose your faith in human race. You know, you do.
Yeah.
Any person that works in welfare, you think, yeah, don't reduce that more by having an opinion when it's not factual, because there's real people behind those stories and real people behind the words that you use, that it does reach them.
Yeah.
It reaches them, and it cuts deep. It does, because we can't comment. We can't go on social media and go, oh yes, Bob at number 24 now doesn't have a horse because he neglected this horse, and you know his mother Amelia helped him, and we can't comment, because if we comment and the case goes to court, they will dig that all up. They will bring that into the court, and they will say, well, actually, you've not acted professionally because you've now commented on the social media posts that were going around. They bring everything up. So, you know, if there's one thing that I would like people to hear from this podcast is, don't think that everything on social media is factual, because it really isn't. And don't get drawn in with emotions, because people behind that have emotions, and you hurt.
Yeah. Yeah,
You do.
definitely agree.
Yeah.
Definitely agree, because clearly you go into work, you start the whole thing with every day, I'm going to go and make a difference.
Yeah.
And then someone to say, well, no, you're not. It's like, well, how do you prove that you're not there to make a difference?
You don't know us.
Yeah.
You don't know what kind of people we are. You don't
Yeah.
know what heart we have behind everything. So be kind.
Yeah. No,
Be kind. And if you see something on social media, you know, please become ambassadors for change, and please put something on there to say, look, guys, is this fact? Or is it an old post that's been swinging around for 10 years that we're now back to? And we will literally have, when something goes on social media, we'll have about 30 plus people report the same thing to us.
Really?
Yeah, the same story, 30 plus. When one person, one good willing person has already reported it, and we're already on with it.
Yeah.
We'll have phone calls about it. We'll have people ringing us really irate that then affects our receptionist, who's a real person, by the way. So you telling the receptionist that we are not doing a good job, that to me is not a really nice situation for a person that's doing their job to then hear that.
Trying to help. Yeah.
Trying to help. So that one person that's reported them initially, let them report it and let us deal with it, because we are on with it.
Yeah.
Trust that we're on with it, please.
So we've talked about Bertie, which is a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Are there any stories that like keep you up at night a little bit if you really start thinking about them? That
how deep do you want to go? Because there's some
however-
that you might have to put like a warning on the podcast
Really?
about. Yeah, we've had Patrick the foal, who was literally left in a bog He'd been born, his mum had died, and he'd just been left to die of pneumonia, no foal milk, no colostrum. And when they turned up to him, they couldn't find him. They couldn't find him because he was in the mud, literally a bare little foal in the mud. They found him eventually, thank goodness. But little Patrick, again, he was a little foal that nobody had checked on. You know, he'd been born into this world. Nobody had gone to make sure everything was okay. And if he had stayed in that bog, he would have died in hours. Hours, he would have been dead. But thank goodness we got to him in time. We've had ex-racehorses come to us, racehorses that have had a good career being abandoned. You know,
Why?
that is the question. Why? Why? You know, why, after that horse has served you for so long, decide that that horse is rubbish and just put it in a field? It's beggars belief to me. We've had, I'm trying to think, Herbie, he was my particular favourite. He was a lovely thoroughbred. He was a rescued emaciated. Horses that Arabs, we've had a top class Arab showing yard neglect their horses so far as to have them in the stables. Their feet had grown so long that they'd probably been in a stable and not moved for years. And the muck underneath them had built up so high that it was literally nearly at the top of the stable door.
You are joking.
No. There's some very visual footage of them coming out of the stables with, you know, the Turkish slipper feet where they're turned up at the end. Unfortunately, the trauma that some of those members of the, you know, other welfare organisations and Tracy from our own had to go through, going to that rescue and seeing horses come out of stables that just never seen the light of day, having to put some of them down because there was just no way that they would either get back to a stable yard or get back on track. And I think working in welfare, you build up a resilience to it.
Yeah.
You know, what we see, I applaud anybody in welfare. You know, you are literally being exposed to traumatic situations and stuff that you wouldn't believe, you know? You wouldn't believe. And it's not the preconception, it's not the people, it's not people with showing like cobs, you know, black and white horses. It's not always those type of people. It's top breeders that sometimes neglect. Gisborne 16, which was 16 horses, that one of our largest rescues that we'd done over the years, there were 16 competition horses, you know, that were left to starve just because their owner had financial difficulties. His choice was, instead of, you know, looking after them and doing the right thing, calling for help, he would just literally forget about them, turn them out in an outdoor arena and leave them to starve. That was his way to deal with that situation. A lot of those horses that came in, Mouse, Fraser, an ex-racehorse. Mouse was a hunting horse. You know, there was Bliss. They all went on to have a brighter future. But if we hadn't gone weeks after, there was literally one dead in the outdoor arena when we turned up. So, you know, the fact that we got there in time for the others was great, but he had let them starve. He had chucked them in the outdoor arena, let them starve. And not only that, he lived in a house right next to the outdoor arena and watched that happen. So the things that we see humans doing, think to yourself, yeah, how could you? How could you?
When you get days like that, with, you know, like how do you, how, like you've just told me, then I'm tearing up at, you know, you know, and God knows, like actually seeing it in real.
Yeah,
How do you turn in the next day?
because you do it for the horses that have got a second chance. You do it for those horses that have gone out to new homes. You do it for those ones that didn't have a past.
Yeah.
They've got a brighter future. That's what we do it for.
So you always do it for the hope of them
Yeah.
having that second chance.
Yeah, going out to private home. We get stories from our borrowers,
Yeah.
little people, no they're not, the horse people that have our horses, of them going out and having such a lovely time, you know. We have one horse that's gone out to a little autistic boy, you know, and he is his comfort zone. He's his safe place. He is everything to that little boy. And that horse has that chance, you know. We have horses going out competing, winning rosettes, going out and having a purpose, show jumping, dressage. We get stories of them going out for hacks with fundraising hacks for us. We see them just being a companion to little Bertie, another little Shetland. We see them having the best life possible. We always love the stories that we get back from the borrowers, and they become part of us because they love to show us what they're doing. In fact, Bertie, Mary Hen, she's always ringing us and having a conversation about him. Yeah, he's we've actually done a promo video recently that's coming out quite soon that's tracking the story. Everything we've talked about, we've kind of like captured that. And of course, I cried because I always do.
You're passionate about it.
Because it hits hard, But Bertie, he's followed me through my career.
Yeah.
He's now haddock potato. He's loving life. He's loving life. He's got that chance that he would never have had if we didn't intervene. So that's just the hurrah moment for all of us. And everybody at HAPPA really does, they live and breathe the fact that we're putting horses back out to people that love them and appreciates them as an animal and wants to give them the best life.
So it sounds like the good does outweigh the bad.
Oh, of course it does. Yeah. Of course it does. I mean, what we try to do, we laugh, we cry, We're not ashamed of our emotions at HAPPA. If we have to make a real call on one of the horses and it's quality of life suffering, and it can't be a horse. The horses, if it can't demonstrate and do things that it should do as a horse, we've got to make really hard decisions on them if it has health problems, it's starting to suffer.
Yeah.
And we cry. We cry. But of course, we cry tears of sadness, but we cry tears of joy. And you're waving them off with the trailer to the new home.
Yeah.
It's like a flip side.
Yeah.
There's two cries. Cry when you get them in. And you cry when they go out. Because those, the equine care officers, they've put everything into that horse. They've lived and breathed it since it's done its rehabilitation. The fact that horse gets to go to its perfect match, that's the positive in all of it.
That's the aim.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It sounds like you've got such an amazing community and an area for all these horses to come.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. I mean, I've only been speaking to you for a couple of hours, but I'm tearing up most in a long time. I'm not tearing up this much.
I know, yeah.
But it's great some of the stories that you said. But is there anything that when you came on that you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on yet at all? Anybody you want to mention? Any stories?
I just want to say thank you to the whole team, to be fair. The whole team are awesome. And I think that they do a fantastic job. And we couldn't do it without them as much as the supporters. We couldn't do it without the team that we've got at HAPPA. And, their strength is what we feed off. And people can see that. When they come to HAPPA, they see that. Everybody with the blue tops. We say we bleed blue because we are HAPPA. And there's me, I've been there 21 years, I think now. But Amanda Berry, she's been there. She's part of the furniture. I mean, she started when we didn't even have Chaussee Farm. She started in when we were in Burnley. It was like in on the wharf, and she's had a project recently where she's brought to life the history of HAPPA, the museum.
Yes, I saw this. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we it's important to us to remember our history.
Definitely.
And it literally is the journey. Our journey started as HAPPA in 1937 as a little lady called Mona Husky. And she was a phenomenal woman. She used to go to the docks where horses were being transported on boats, and she used to lobby to stop to improve the care and the ways that they were transported. And she used to regularly have arguments with I don't know what you call them, the captains of the boats.
Yeah.
And they used to regularly chuck her in the actual docks, So she was a brilliant lady. She was the strength. She started, and from her, we started the farm in London originally. That was where we started.
Where it was?
Yeah, in Capel Manor.
Okay.
Capel Manor in London. And we know this because Mandy's gone through all the history. If you wanted to do another podcast with Mandy, she could tell you all about
Love
it.
to, yeah.
Capel House was the first home of HAPPA, I suppose, but we rented it. And eventually that was sold. So the trustees at the time decided that we'd come up to Lancashire.
Mm-hmm.
And when we came up to Lancashire, there was a lady called Pam Wood that opened her stable yard to the horses. So she opened her house and her stables to the horses, the HAPPA horses. And I can remember, and this is very strange, I think HAPPA has followed me the rest of my life. I used to go up there as a child.
Did you?
I used to adopt Grey Star and Jennifer the one-eared donkey. And
What?
my mum used to be petrified of horses. So she used to stand at the door, and in those days, health and safety kind of wasn't as big as it was today. I used to be able to go in the stable and brush Grey Star. I loved that pony. I used to think it was my own, but it obviously wasn't. I was just adopting it. Yeah. I can remember Pam Wood. I can remember she used to be such a lovely lady. At Fence, it was in Fence, the farm where she had the farm. And then in 1984, they moved to Chausey Farm because they were rescuing more horses. They didn't have enough space, and it was a cattle farm at the time. So it went from being a cattle farm to how it is today. And we hear stories of Jean Burns, who's now in South Africa, who she was the first person to step foot on Chausey Farm with Muffin the mule. Yeah, Muffin the mule. And we literally have so many tales to tell. But yeah, right at the beginning, a phenomenal lady called Mona Husky, she was the one that really started it back in those days. And she always, as we do now, always had the horse's best interest at heart. So it's lovely that we all get to carry on her work into the future. Pam Wood actually passed away, bless her, I think 2 years ago. And with the money that she left to us in her will, we use that to bring the museum to life. So it's in memory of Pam Wood for all the good work that she did for us for the charity. Yeah, so we've got some very strong ladies along the way that have really helped us to be who we are today.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a whole story there, so I could go on for hours.
That's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Just as well, with your volunteers, anybody watching this, if they wanted to come and help out at all, like, how would they go about doing that?
If you want to volunteer for us, we do have volunteer positions always open. We've got to be very careful with the horses on the yard because they're quite high risk. But you can apply, but you'd have to come to do like an assessment, see your capability of equine. But we're always looking for people to help with fundraising events, maintenance on site. We have some brilliant maintenance volunteers at the moment that are just awesome. There's no job too big for them. They could probably build a building for us if we asked them to. And if you want to come and help us, it's a real community. So just get in contact with Julie. You can email us at healthandsafety@happa.org.uk if you do want to become a volunteer, and that just starts the ball rolling.
So just to coming to the end of the podcast and speaking about it, where do you see HAPPA in another 10 years?
I'll probably still be there.
Good.
I'll probably either have a Zimmer frame
Don't be that. In 10 years.
I'll probably still be there. Yeah. I see it as being we already are a top class equestrian place, but I think we will have other equipment for the horses. We'll have an outside eating area on the cafe. We'll probably have electric charging points because everybody will have an electric car by then, won't they?
Yeah. No good for towing.
No. And we will just still be there, giving the horses the best we possibly can. We have people that will probably still be here with us in 10 years. We'll have people that have moved on and new people with us. I'd like to think in the future we'll expand.
Well, what would that look like?
Another farm, maybe
in the northwest, or
maybe it might be something that we could think about. But the main thing is it's only possible through public support. We can't do anything unless people support us. And Chausey Farm really is a standing reminder of how people have supported us along the way. So I'd appeal to anybody to come and visit us. And if you want to come and see me, let me know, and come on. You can have a one-to-one if you'd like, and I'll give you a guided tour around.
I'd love to come. I'd love to come. And I've never been to it
Have
before.
you
So
not?
no, I've never been to it before. No.
No,
So
you
I'm
need
definitely going to come
to.
down, even just for the cafe. You know, so it can
We'll
be.
put the kettle on.
What did you say? A paddock potato.
Baked potato.
Love that. I'm definitely taking that forward. But yeah, no, clearly, I mean, just speaking with you for a couple of hours, you
Yeah.
can see how passionate you are about it, what it really, really means to you. And I'm sure your whole team are exactly the same as you, and
Yeah.
only want the best for the horses, and always try your best as well.
We do, yeah. We don't always get it right, you know, but we learn from our mistakes.
Oh,
And we, you know, if the horses show us something better and a better way of doing things, we roll with it.
yeah,
The horses are our guide,
yeah,
and they are, again, precedent to the fact of where we are today. Because if Bertie hadn't come, we may not have been, you know, so far on with our rehoming schemes.
mm,
So well done, Bertie.
yeah. It's all
Bless him.
fated. All
All
fated.
fated,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Well, thank you so much for the work that you do and the
Oh,
work that
thank
HAPPA
you.
does, and
Oh.
please continue. And yeah, this won't be our last interaction
Oh,
with
we'll
each
come
other.
again,
No,
absolutely.
100%. No, we need to know. We need to know,
Yeah.
and people need to understand the amazing work that you do.
Oh,
Honestly,
thank you.
really, really, really blown away.
Oh,
It's
thank
fantastic.
you. Lovely to meet you, and thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.